And we're back.
3, 2, 1.
And we're back. This is Knockout Radio coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona, home of Super Bowl 57. And walking through the crowd at Media Row, I see AQ Shipley from the Pat McAfee Show. Also,
it's easier to just say a very large man.
Well, a very large man with a local connection to Tampa Bay, as in the Buccaneers, offensive line coach, played in the NFL. And then we start talking, and obviously there's a lot of symmetry between MMA and the NFL, and a lot of guys cross over, Greg Hardy being one, Marcus Jones, Big Baby, obviously. And so here we are, Rashad Merriman.
Brock Lesnar.
And I found out through the grapevine that AQ here, he trained with the Glazers and a lot of the top guys in Arizona.
I guess the first and most important question is, A, did you make a bet with Jay? B, did you lose a bet to Jay where you can get that phone call and have to do push-ups at any time?
No, neither one of those. But I will say Jay's the first to kick, kind of like when you're just doing like mitts, right? He'll sit there and he's got this little like fake jab where you go into guard and hit you with the hook to the side. He's put some people down. He's put some people down in training. He's got a little nice little combo there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Look at that smile. You see it, the glimmer in his eye. Like,
yeah.
You love the martial arts, right?
Listen, I love it. I got into it when I was young. I used to do like a little. So my uncle has like a Muay Thai background and kind of did some Golden Gloves when he was younger. And he kind of got me into it. Like I knew nothing about it when I was a high school kid. Got me into it. He was like, hey, listen, we should get you kicking bags and loosen up your hips. I was a defensive lineman at the time. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do this. And I fell in love with it. One of the guys I worked with actually was in the UFC a little bit, Adam Milstead, who was he had a little cup of coffee as a heavyweight, and did some work with him back in the Pittsburgh area. Come out here, I meet Aaron Simpson, who fought in the UFC for a little bit, Alex Kara-Levis, and these guys are like, hey, we get together a couple days a week, we get mitts. Let's do it. So boom, I go. I start going a couple times. Now Jay Glazers gets back from training camp. It was like early September. He starts joining the crew. Ryan Bader's coming in, right? I'm like, oh, these are guys I look up to, and I'm sure they like football, so it's just like the perfect little connection, and we love to get together and train.
What the case has always been is football doesn't want to talk football. They want to talk something different.
Sure.
The MMA guys, they don't want to be around MMA guys. They are all the time.
Sure.
So they attach to the football. What I like, when Matt brought up about your smile and stuff, like I said, I've started with the UFC, and I've tried to help grow the UFC. I think I've had a little, very small, but a little to do with it. So seeing other sports, other athletes enjoy the sport that I love and I've pushed since day one, that makes a smile on my face that you're enjoying the sport.
Oh, I enjoy the heck out of it. I mean, it's so funny. I mean, I've had Tom Brady's hands between my legs. I've had Roethlisberger's, Kyler Murray's, right? Like I had some big-time quarterbacks, hands between my legs. I've played with Larry Fitzgerald. I've played with Hines Ward. I've played with Reggie Wayne, Deshaun Jackson, Dwight Freeney. Hall of Famers left and right. It's like another day. I'm on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Dana White hops on. I'm like, I'm starstruck, right? Sugar Sean's on the day before. I'm like, this is awesome, right? So, I mean, for me, it's awesome. I look forward to every Saturday. I'm always buying the pay-per-views. I'm always looking forward to it. So I love the sport.
Since you said about everybody that had their hands, between your legs, so I got to tell you the story. So we're in London. Matt Hughes is fighting Carlos Newton for the second time. I carried the belt down the ramp, the whole 9 yards. It was so cool. So we're in the room, and my son and I are doing a little grappling, having no idea what either one of us are doing.
Sure.
I got a little aggressive. He is my son. And Matt goes, all right, this time, Randy, you and me. I go, you and me what? He goes, no, you and me are going to roll now. So this is the part that's going to be. So
Sure.
Matt mounts me, and everybody thinks that's all funny. Ha, 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 mounts
Sure.
me. He gets on top of me. He goes, go. I go where? He goes, 5 minutes. Get out. I go, you're the UFC, welterweight champion of the world. Carlos Newton's not going to get out. He goes, tough. You got 5 minutes. Like in 2 minutes, I'm like, are we done this yet?
Yeah.
I mean, you're flopping around. And so what is that experience like? I mean, obviously a professional NFL guy. Now you're in a different world, training with a different world.
Yeah.
And right now, Chris Hovan is starting to train, if you know Chris.
Yeah, for sure.
So I got Chris training with David Vieira. And it's just totally different. But he's such a good athlete that he's better than most people would think. I'm sure you're the same. What is that like?
I think as a professional athlete, regardless of what sport, right? You can pick things up. I can throw punches. I can do all that stuff. It's the technique stuff where those guys who've been doing it forever, they grew up, they got the wrestling background, they got the jiu-jitsu background. I didn't have any of that. So now when we're doing, this whole little thing, and I'm doing it with just a regular guy, it's like, okay, cool, we can do this. And then Bader comes the
comes
one
in.
day, and they're like, "Hey, let's do this with Bader," and I'm like, "I can't get my arm in. Like, what are we doing?" And like, so you see right there just how skilled those guys are. When I saw that,
Did you see Vader's fight against Fedor?
I did.
Did you see what Fedor's answer to the question was? So a media person says, greatest career, great career. What is the one thing you would have liked to have done? He goes, beat Ryan Bader.
sure.
Because he lost both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think both fights ended pretty similarly, right? I mean, it was quick, and Bader, he's so good. He's a wrestler. He's got a great wrestling background, obviously from local area issue, and I mean, he's a phenomenal fighter, right? But he gets you on the ground, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, and you know, I think that's the biggest thing with him. And once he took it to the ground, you knew it was going to be over quick. It was going to be somewhere first. Not to mention, Fedor was what, 40,
106.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly, but. It'll be interesting to see how many more Baders got left in him. I mean, obviously he's had a great career, but I agree. I mean, I love watching him. I love watching the local guys. It's cool for me.
I've always said on the show, who is a fan to say it's time to retire? In any sport, in
Any
football,
sport, you're right.
and it doesn't matter who. But, then I watched that fight with Fedor.
Yeah.
I watched the fight with Teixeira, a couple of weeks ago. And,
Tough.
And it's tough to watch,
Sure.
the legends. And you don't know, but anybody who's listening to the show, I hate the word legend. It's the most overused word in the English language, in my opinion. And when you're saying legend, to a guy that's had his 2-1 in BKFC,
Sure.
when you're comparing him to Fedor, or to Teixeira or whatever.
Yeah.
And to see a legend go out that way is tough for me. But who am I? Who are we to say don't go make another paycheck?
Right. I think the obvious answer we always say, right, across all sports is, as a fan or as even a teammate, you'd want to see them go out maybe one early as opposed to one late, right? Because the minute you see it's one late, you're like, oh, this is tough. I don't want to watch Michael Jordan hop on. Yeah, I don't want to watch Michael Jordan hop on the Wizards and score 10 points. I don't want to say
Matt Hughes. I mean,
yeah. Or Teixeira. I mean, his face was destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you were hoping that they kind of ended that early, right? It's like, oh, this is tough to watch.
Well, Happelman tried.
Yeah, I agree.
And
agree.
they overruled it.
Exactly. But to your point, as a competitor, there's no way. Like I said it maybe the last 4 years of my career, I ended up playing 12 years. From 8 to 12, I'm sitting here telling my wife after every season, God, I think I should retire. And then March rolls around. I'm like, I can still do this, right? The only thing that would have ended mine was exactly what did, a career-ending injury, or else I would have came back the next year and said, hey, let's do this again, until something catastrophic happened, which did, and that's fine. But we keep it moving. But that's usually, as a competitor, what typically happens.
And it's not just, in sports and athletics. Honestly, I've said that about this radio show for the past couple of years. I'm like, I've been doing this so long, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like golf. Then you have like 3 or 4 really good chats. I call them chats in my interviews.
Sure.
And I'm like, no, that kind of rejuvenated it. And I'm like, let's do it another year. And then I do another, I got to do this politically right or legally right. I do a football player show in Tampa. Is that the legal way not to say names?
Sure.
So I've been doing it for so long, and then you get a couple guys on, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
I get Alex Kappa is one of my closest friends.
It's the best.
And it rejuvenates it. So it's just like
Ali Marpet.
Yeah. All good dudes.
They're great.
Yeah.
Alex's injury was brutal.
It's twice it's happened over the playoffs. It sucks. I think he's on his way back here now. He should be. I know he lives in the Phoenix area.
I can't say because it's a secret. No, since you're not as stupid as I think you are.
Sure.
Alex called me yesterday. Alex will be here on Friday.
Let's go.
And Alex is going to be on the show.
Please tell him I said hello.
I will. That's my guy.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Alex, and Caleb Benenod is, we go into the locker room. I'm not talking football.
Yeah.
I'm talking MMA. I'm
No
trying
doubt.
to get them into a different sport and to enjoy it and to whatever. Do you ever think that you'll compete? Have you competed?
Never competed. I just think, for me, whenever the guys ask me to do this, I was like, it's fun for me. Like there's so many times where it's like, I gotta wake up, I gotta go run on the treadmill. Do I really want to run on a treadmill? No. I mean, I'd rather go hit mitts and do 6 rounds on the mitts or the bags, or do a little circuit, ground and pound, whatever it may be, right? And that's awesome for me. It's awesome for me to kind of get the juices flowing, the competitive. I get the locker room vibe with all former kind of athletes. We get that kind of feel. And then you train your ass off and you keep it moving, right? And I think that's kind of where it is. And then hopefully the weight comes off.
So that's a great point. I mean, a lot of pro athletes that come from a team sport, same as the military, when they get out, they kind of feel like alone, or like they don't have that camaraderie and that brotherhood.
It's the locker room.
And the locker room environment. And joining a MMA gym gives you that sensation post-playing career.
No question about it. My wife will be the first person to sign off on me going to this. I promise you, because it's like you just see how much happier I am when I come home. It's like, I just came from, I just came from that feeling that I had for 12 years, and it's cool. It's cool to just kind of the camaraderie, the brotherhood, right? Like that fellowship with all guys who've come from kind of common walks of life. It's pretty cool.
And that's what Hovan's going through now. But when you did retire, are you regretting not filming it on a beach and then selling the sand?
I mean, if I had that type of pull to get $90,000 for a jar of sand, that's unbelievable.
Maybe you can sell the pants that Tom Brady put his hands on.
That's it. That's
right?
it. Maybe I'll get something for it, right?
Save those pants.
Exactly.
And if you get $100,000, retire, and then come back out, and then retire. And
Keep
then
doing
come
it.
back out. So have you now starting to do radio? And
Yeah.
I understand you're over there with Pat.
Yep. So, coached just the 1 year after playing in 21, and then I just never saw my kids. It just didn't make sense. I couldn't justify it. I was like, okay, there's got to be another way. Pat and I are super close. I was in his wedding. He was in my wedding. He's crushing it, obviously.
Oh, my God.
And killing it. And so he gave me a call one day, and it was literally like a good friend of ours, Dan Orlovsky, who's also killing it on ESPN, right? Dan starts talking protection on ESPN. I go, Pat, I'm like, that's not right. You don't know what he's talking about with protection, right? Pat was like, would you want to come on the show and do that? That's literally how my segment came about. So he was like, all right, how about this? He's like, I'll pay you. You come on once a week during the season, fly to Indy, pick out some plays, offensive line stuff, break it down for the boys, make it a fun setting like you're coaching or in a locker room or in a man cave, whatever it may be, right? See what happens. We'll see where it goes. And it actually took off. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. He liked it. I mean, so it was fun for me.
When does he include you in his WWE things? And you can walk out with him and you're his tag team partner. And
that really gets the juices flowing. If I can get that. We had Seth Rollins on today. And
we have him coming out.
Yeah, he had the full get-up on. Wait till you see the peacock suit he's rocking around in. It's definitely fun. But those guys have electric personalities, and it's the same thing, I'm sure, right? I mean, you walk out in front of 55,000 people. That feeling you cannot replicate.
So Hulk Hogan was a good friend of ours. He helped me develop a character a few years ago, the Gladiator, and I had a red mohawk. I was going to deliver an ass whoop into the ring.
Let's go.
And but he talks about how he got a job at a bank in Tampa on Dale Mabry, and he had just did his first wrestling show, and he said he could not duplicate that sensation. And he came out and he went back and was like, I can't do anything else other than this. This is the only thing that I know. I'll never get this kind of sensation anywhere else.
You won't.
And it became Hulk Hogan as we know it today.
Unbelievable. That's a great story. I mean, the same thing. I mean, every time I walked out into a stadium, it was you can't duplicate that feeling. You cannot duplicate that feeling. The minute that first hit happens, that feeling kind of goes away. Now you're just kind of immersed in what it is, right? But leading up to that moment, you cannot ever replicate those feelings.
What was the one stadium that feeling was the most?
Seattle, not even a question. So when I played for the Cardinals for 6 years, it was every single year I looked forward to going up to Seattle. It's the rival, first of all. Then it's the atmosphere. It's arguably the loudest. That 12th man is awesome. And like I just loved the feel of having everybody against you. Like I love that feeling. Like I loved away games so much more than I loved home games because I loved all right, everybody's against me. Let's go do this thing.
I've been doing radio sports. I was bat boy for the Cardinals when I was a teenager. Blah 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 blah. So a long time. Arguably the greatest moment in my life, not counting my kids and stuff. A good friend of mine, Tyrone Booz, recently passed away, was the cruiserweight champion, the WBO cruiserweight champion of the world.
Okay.
He went to defend his title in Hamburg, Germany. I carried the belt out, and we were booed during the entire national anthem. And we talked about this before, which is different than kneeling, and not that I want to get into that.
Sure.
Kneeling during the national anthem of an American and Germans booing us, the national anthem, was two different things.
Sure.
It was the proudest moment of my life. You know, I've been in the military, the
Yeah.
whole military thing. Being booed because of that crowd, that whole thing, I'm like, this is awesome.
Unbelievable.
I felt like an Oakland Raid.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great feeling. I love that.
What do you remember? What do you take from your career?
Yeah, I mean, my career was interesting because I coming out of college, I was as decorated a college lineman maybe as you could ask for. I was a finalist for the Outland Trophy for the best lineman in college football. I won the Remington Trophy as best center in college football, unanimous first-team All-American. I'm like, all right, here we go. We're doing this thing, right? Then I get drafted in the 7th round because they say my arms are 2 inches too short. I'm like, It just happened, right? And so then I spent the first 2 years on the practice squad, and I'm like, don't know if this is going to happen. Like, I need somebody to look past the measurables and give me an opportunity. And fortunately for me, it was Bruce Arians. I go to Indianapolis, 2012, Bruce Arians, our center gets hurt. Boom, AQ, you're in the game. I end up starting, 7 or 8 games that year, playing in 14, I think it was. And that was it. That was all I needed. As soon as I got one opportunity, I knew once I got on the field, the 2 inches, just like it don't matter in the bedroom, it doesn't matter on the field either. You know what I mean? So like I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, he's with Pat.
So I said, okay, here we go. I just need this one opportunity. I get it. And it blossomed into, 120 games played, 10 more years.
So Pat calls, you're doing that one segment. Has it expanded more? I have a thing. I don't listen to any other radio show.
Yep.
Because some people in the media are hated.
Yep.
And I don't want to give anybody a reason to say, you took a sponsor, you took a, so when you say you had Dana White on, yeah, I got him on not because of you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know who Pat is. We met him last year. My son listens and loves the show. Has it developed into a bigger bit?
So this year, during the year, it was just that. Will it eventually? Yeah, maybe. And this week I've been on with him every day on this Media Row thing, and that's been awesome. And I think it started like the first week. I only went on for the 30 minutes to do my segment, and then it moved on to I was on the whole day on Tuesday, and I've called in on some guest things. So I hope it does. I really enjoy it. I love working with him. I love kind of that brand where I can just kind of be unfiltered and be myself, let my personality shine, and not have to just worry about everything I say. And so I think from that standpoint, it's great. And then I get to talk football.
And everything else.
Yes.
Awesome. How can people follow you? Are you on all the social media?
I'm on all the socials. It's at AQ Shipley. Easy as can be, just one word. And I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Gotta pick it up because now when I was playing, I was always worried about getting canceled. So now that I'm not playing, I gotta be a little bit better presence on social media. We'll get there.
So tell me a story about Kappa.
Oh, great story. Yes, I think I love Cap. So when I went down to Tampa, knew of him, we had similar friends. I don't know if you know Taylor Boggs. Taylor Boggs lives in this Phoenix area. Cap, a really good friend. Played with him in college. I played with Taylor here. Taylor says, I love Cap. I said, can't wait. So I go down there. Every single guard, for the most part, and tackle for the most part, I ever played with, all they did was just like wait for the center to make the call. Like they didn't care to learn what the center's calls were going to be, what the mic point was going to be, understand kind of the whole defense. I remember being in there like the first 2 weeks, and this guy next to me, number 65, is like, Mike's 56, raise the call, whatever it is, right? And I'm like, pretty smart. This guy's pretty smart. He knows what he's doing. First guard I've ever been around knows what he's doing. So as you watch, I think kind of comes from a small school, rookie year, maybe
non-existent school.
Non-existent school now. Maybe his rookie year, he's too small, gets bigger, gets a little better. Second year, third year, gets bigger, gets a little bit better. Fourth year, blossoms. And now he's a $40 million man playing in Cincinnati. It's a pretty cool story.
Who has the better hair, though, Alex or Steve?
I love the curls. Cap's got the straight hair, so I'm going to go with Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think Steve said Pat talked about his hair last year on radio.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
AQ, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. We're going to get your address. We're going to send you a care package from Ryan Bader's sponsor, 8 Man Strong.
Let's go.
Which happens to be our sponsor as well.
Let's go.
As well as a case of salsa from Blue Smoke Salsa from West Virginia. Best stuff you'll ever had.
I love it.
Appreciate it.
Can't wait
Thank
to
you
go.
very much.
Thanks.
All right, let's go hit a break. We'll be right back.
You did a great job.
Appreciate you, man. That was awesome.
It
was awesome.
Sounds like you've done this before.
Done it a few times.
Let us just get your address. I
Yeah,
don't
for
know
sure.
which pad.
No, I appreciate that.
So have you seen our Ali Marquette yet lately?
Dude, he's like 225 pounds.
I don't think he's that much.
You think it's less than that?
Oh, yeah. So,
And it came off so fast.
yeah.
So you walked into the restaurant, because I own 2 of the pizza at Shaky.
So when
Okay.
Cincinnati came to play Tampa, I went and picked up Alex in Tampa, and we were going to surprise Matt, and we brought him in to eat it. So a guy starts walking in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I think, who the hell is this guy? I mean, literally, he looks like it's weird. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have never. And he just goes, "Hey guys, just say, hey Alex, go say, hey." Go. He didn't even know it was that.
I'm like, God, I thought it was maybe one of the Bengals players that came with him. And again,
The equipment guy or something.